From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. A lot of conversations happening here in the next 2 hours. We're going to start in the Port of Los Angeles, where new fees are now in place, along with tariffs, as the U.S. and China fail to reach a deal when it comes to trade tensions. And then there is new research on the effects of repeated head impacts during contact sports for young athletes. It's actually raising hopes for earlier diagnosis and treatment. Researchers saying they may have found an area to focus on for early detection if there is a problem. And finally, we are heading to the history books for a look at what happened on this day in history, from record speed to the start of a major volunteer organization. Let's take a look at your news headlines on this morning as we look live again at the Port of Los Angeles. The U.S. and China are slapping new fees on each other's ships as trade tensions escalate. The U.S. Trade Representative and China's Ministry of Transport both say these port fees are part of a growing trade dispute. Chinese analysts blame the U.S. for starting this latest round by putting a new export control in place last month, leading China to tighten rules on rare earth minerals. Now President Trump is threatening to hike tariffs on Chinese imports to over 100% by November 1st. Beijing warned it will retaliate if that happens, but both sides say they do want to find a solution.
Can we find some way to kind of coexist with China as we still are strategic rivals? We're in a pattern of escalation and now hopefully towards de-escalation, paving the way for President Trump to meet with Xi Jinping just a couple of weeks from now in Korea.
The 100% tariff does not have to happen. I imagine that I will have some contact with my counterpart, and then the two leaders will meet.
Now, starting today, upholstered chairs, seats, and sofas will also have a 25% tariff going up today and then going up 30% starting on January 1st. Now heading to Washington, D.C., where President Trump is back at the White House after helping broker a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Yesterday, he spoke at a summit in Egypt and met with released hostages in Israel. Alice Barr has all those details in Washington.
Good morning. President Trump, who brokered a truce between bitter enemies, has said more than once now that the war in Gaza is over. But with the hostages returned, the focus shifts to serious questions about ensuring a ceasefire becomes a lasting peace. This morning, as President Trump returns to the White House from a Middle East trip that sought to cement peace in Gaza.
Historic day, to put it mildly.
The final 20 living Israeli hostages are waking up at home for the first time in 2 years. Joyful family reunions nourishing a nation hollowed out by their long and painful absence. Images of Hamas terrorists abducting Noah Argamani as her boyfriend, Avinatan Or, was also dragged away, were among the most searing from the October 7th attacks. Noah was rescued last year. Avinatan leaping into her arms upon his release. While in Gaza, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners also released through the peace deal, all returning to a war-ravaged territory. President Trump joined 20 other heads of state for a peace summit in Egypt, seeking long-term solutions.
We're going to have a lot of money coming into Gaza and a lot of rebuilding and building.
The president thanking neighboring Arab states for committing to helping rebuild.
I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together.
Though so far, Israel and Hamas have agreed to just phase one of President Trump's 20-point peace plan, with looming questions about Hamas disarming and leaving power, and who will govern Gaza through an uncertain future. Another outstanding question, the return of the remains of deceased hostages, with only 4 of 28 believed to be held by Hamas returned on Monday. Long term, when asked about Palestinian statehood, the two-state solution, President Trump said the focus right now is on rebuilding Gaza. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Alice, thank you. Staying at the White House right now, President Trump also looking to broker another peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. The president is expected to meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky on Friday. Over the weekend, Trump said he is considering telling Russian President Vladimir Putin if the war in Ukraine does not end, he might approve the transfer of long-range Tomahawk missiles to Kyiv. Trump and Zelensky discussed this in phone calls over the weekend. We'll see what happens in the oncoming days. Well, the man who launched a verbal anti-Semitic attack at families in a Bloomfield Hills synagogue is about to find out his prison sentence. Hassan Choker pleaded guilty to using anti-Semitic language toward parents in the parking lot of Temple Bethel in December of 2022. He then went to a Dearborn gun store and lied to buy guns. Last month, he was sentenced to 34 months in federal prison for a gun charge, and then today, he is facing sentencing for the charges related to the attack itself. Also happening today, closing arguments will begin as former Detroit Red Wings Zamboni driver Al Sabatka hopes to convince a jury he was wrongfully fired from his job. Sabatka was fired back in 2022. At the time of his firing, Olympia Entertainment said it was because Sabatka was caught urinating where they dump out the ice from the Zamboni. Sabatka filed a lawsuit against Olympia, saying he was let go after 50 hockey seasons because, as he says, the higher-ups at the company thought he was too old and used the peeing incident as an excuse to get rid of him. Sabatka was 68 at the time. Closing arguments are set to begin at 11 o'clock this morning. Let's take a live look over the Detroit skyline. And Metro Detroit's housing market is holding steady, but the city of Detroit saw a huge jump in home sales. The city is down 15.6% compared to last year, according to RE/MAX. Across Metro Detroit, I should say, home sales went up 1.5%, and the average home price went up to more than $327,000. Other key facts from the report show homes are staying on the market a little longer, 28 days on average, which is 2 days more than last year. The Detroit Lions are gearing up for a Monday Night Football matchup against Tampa Bay, but they will be without an important member of their defense. Lions safety Brian Branch is now suspended for 1 game with no pay. This is video right after Sunday night's game against the Chiefs, where Branch hit Juju Smith-Schuster after not shaking hands with quarterback Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs. Branch did express some remorse, but says he was frustrated after the game because of no calls by the refs. Now, he's actually appealing the NFL's decision to suspend him so he can be allowed to play against the Buccaneers on Monday night. He is no stranger to fines, though. In the last year and a half, Branch has been fined 10 times. We'll still have another beautiful day expected in Metro Detroit, but there is a cool down in the forecast. Your forewarned forecast coming up. And you've likely heard about the concerns of head injuries in the NFL, but it's a real risk for young athletes as well. New research is shedding light on the impact. We're going to talk about that next. Welcome back, everybody. A live look over Mount Clemens on this Tuesday morning. If you are a parent of a kid in any sport, you're always concerned about them getting hurt or, worse, some long-term effects. Well, now there is some new research on the effects of repeated head impact from contact sports on young ones' brains, and it's actually kind of encouraging. Not because there's less risk, but because doctors have better information on how to diagnose and treat the chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. I've been working on that for hours. Dr. Kate Wilson is here. She is a neuropsychologist with Henry Ford Health. Thank you so much for coming in. So I have no idea what most of this means, but my understanding is that the research is kind of pointing you and the other doctors in the areas to kind of look for CTE earlier on. Is that about right?
We're getting there.
Okay,
so
okay.
Right now, CTE can only be diagnosed after death in
Okay.
brain pathology.
Okay.
But this research is showing us the mechanisms that are leading up to that.
I see.
And it's showing it in younger populations, but it's still looking at 20 to 50-year-olds in this
wow.
population. for
Okay,
that
so
study.
it's terrifying for parents, always has been, right? Because we never really know what those long-term effects are going to be. If I am a parent and I am concerned about these high-risk, high-physical sports, which we know a lot of kids love, you know, they'll put on the helmets and go crash into somebody. We can't stop them from doing it, but what's your advice?
My advice would be to make sure that you're doing it as safely as possible.
Right.
So obviously you want to wear helmets, you want to wear bite guards when you are playing sports. There's other things you can do day to day, like making sure your child's wearing a seatbelt in the car. That's going to reduce the likelihood of head injuries, and the less head injuries you get, the less chance there is for cumulative effects. If you do have a head injury, you have a team that can help you. You've got your pediatricians, your primary care physicians that can help monitor any effects afterwards and guide you through recovery. You also, if you're in organized sports, you have athletic trainers that can be there on the side of the field and are watching for these things and will pull kids from play whenever there's a question.
Yeah, so speaking of, what are some of the red flags then when you know that, you know, because some kids want to just push through it. Like when do you know you need to be benched?
Yeah, well, if there's alteration of consciousness, and that doesn't have to mean you're knocked out cold.
Okay.
It can mean that the child seems confused, woozy, they're disoriented. So those are the times when usually the athletic trainer and the coaches, they're saying, hey, this kid doesn't seem like their normal self.
Right.
Then we're going to pull them and evaluate them.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's kind of go back to the research a little bit then. So obviously you said it can't be diagnosed until after death. What is this research helping you do then now?
Yeah, so right now it's showing us like what could potentially be leading up to the things that we are seeing that diagnose the CTE. So you have these hyperphosphorylated proteins in your brain.
Say what now?
You have these little brain bits in the research, they call it p-tau. And when you have a certain amount of that in the brain, they're saying, okay, now you have CTE. This research is showing us what kind of comes before that.
Okay.
So it's showing us more of the developmental course leading towards CTE.
I see. Okay, so do you think that there is a path here over the next 10, 15, 20, 50 years where you might be able to diagnose CTE before death?
Well, what we would call that would be traumatic encephalopathic syndrome.
Okay.
So that's when we are seeing these changes in somebody's day-to-day functioning.
Okay, okay.
And then if we see those changes and we think, okay, well, they've had a history of repeated head injuries and they're having a clear decline from their previous level of functioning and it's getting progressively worse, then those are some of the criteria for this traumatic encephalopathy syndrome. And then after death, we can confirm it with CTE, with
I see.
biopsy.
All right. So what we're looking at now is, you know, umbrella, overarching kind of things to help you kind of categorize what's happened. But when you're a child and as you grow up, you're going to be seeing issues and kind of the triggers and the warning signs that something might not be right, right?
Yeah, so if there's a clear change from how somebody is functioning and it's declining, they're getting worse over time, then obviously you want to talk with your healthcare team to get that evaluated and see, like, is this possibly related to head injuries or could it be something else going on that's much more treatable?
Right. I know that football usually is the contact sport it's the poster child for this kind of thing, but it's not just football, right?
No, it's not just football, but the vast majority of research is football.
Okay.
So, and it's usually with men too.
Okay.
So, usually who plays football. So we don't want to make too many leaps yet. But yes, any like repeated head injury could be like our veterans who've survived multiple blasts as well. So those are other populations that we could look out for too.
I would imagine, I would hope, crossing my fingers, that during practice, our coaches, our athletic trainers are teaching our young ones the proper way to tackle and take a hit.
Yes.
But is that probably a conversation you've had with your patients too?
Yes, absolutely. We talked about all the regular safety measures that they should be listening to their coaches and doing things as safely as possible.
Which is what? What's the best way to, if you're going to get hit and tackle, what's the best way to do it?
Well, you don't want to go head on. I didn't play football, but my understanding is you want to like go in with your shoulder.
Okay. Yeah. And then for the parents who, again, are concerned about this, there is a fine line for every parent to allow their kid to play and, go at 110% and in a game like football especially, be very physical, but also, if needed, dial it back. Where is that fine line between, being a great player and being cautious of your own safety?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I have the best answer for that.
I don't know if anybody does, right?
Yeah, I would say if your child is getting concussions, like plural,
Right.
we want to look at their recovery trajectory.
Okay.
Are their symptoms getting worse? Are they getting longer after each concussion? That tells us that that might be something we need to pay closer attention to. So that would be one of the things that I would look for.
And there's also a lot of misinformation about concussions that obviously it's a scary thing and can be traumatic, but also you can, I don't want to say walk away, but you can walk away with no long-term effects, can't you?
Yes, that is very, very important point to make.
Yeah.
Like the expectation is that you will recover.
Right. Right. Okay. Doctor, thank you so much for your time this morning. Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Thank you.
you.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you. All right. Some wild weather across North America right now as we look live at Mexico. We're going to give you a look at the damage spanning south to Cancun and north to Alaska. Plus, Ron has your local forecast when we come back. Let's take a look at some weather stories here. First, a live look at Mexico, where people are cleaning up following intense rain and flooding. Tropical storm Raymond mixed with Hurricane Priscilla remnants. Power storm triggering heavy flooding and landslides. Right now, at least 64 people have died and dozens are missing. Rescue teams are racing to find victims and boost relief efforts to help people in those hardest hit areas. And north to Anchorage, Alaska now, more than 1,000 people have been displaced after ferocious hurricane-force winds from what was a typhoon tore through remote coastal communities. It unleashed a record-breaking storm surge, shoving homes completely off their foundations. At least one person has died and others are still unaccounted for. More than 50 people had to be hoisted to safety by Coast Guard helicopters. We're also hearing stories about homes being swept away with families inside and families using boats to escape.
The house is unlivable. We can't live in there anymore. This is the worst ever. It's totally, Kipnik is totally wiped out.
The governor has issued a disaster declaration and FEMA is sending a team in to help. FEMA says the ongoing government shutdown is not impacting its response to emergencies like this. And finally, a live look at the Jersey Shore right now, much calmer than what we've seen recently. Those on the East Coast have been dealing with a nor'easter storm causing major flooding and power outages. More flooding expected, even though the nor'easter is expected to move out of that area today. All right, closer to home, the one and only Ron Hilliard in for Ashley on this Tuesday morning. You look at the forecast, and it seems about right. I mean, it's getting colder, which I know some people aren't happy about, but I mean, 'tis
That
the
includes
season.
me,
Yeah, right? You're not.
'Tis the season.
You do like it hot, don't you?
I love it hot.
like hot, like 95, kind of hot.
With low humidity. Yeah, it's the humidity
it's
that's
a dry heat.
The dry heat, right? I was just in Florida recently.
That's not a dry heat.
It was not dry at all, I gotta admit. I was like, whoa, I need that dry heat from
Gosh,
Michigan.
it's like you get slapped in the face with humidity when you walk out the front door.
Right? You know, of course, we have our Great Lakes. We do have humidity here. Thankfully, it's not a big issue right now. Here's a look across the country. That nor'easter, if you see right there, that L, that's the low pressure out toward the eastern seaboard. We are seeing that move away from the U.S., but still seeing some rain showers and impacts here on the eastern seaboard. This is what I want to talk about here today in Metro Detroit. We have some of the patchy fog still with us this morning. Partly cloudy conditions will be continuing throughout the day. Tomorrow, we have in the early morning hours a chance of some rain showers. After that, the big story is going to be the cool down with temps back to normal, lower 60s, and looking ahead, more rain for the weekend. So I talked about that fog. Much like yesterday, we still have some fog in Lenawee and Monroe counties. You go into the thumb, there's also some issues with fog there as well. Even seeing some patchy fog in Washtenaw County. So I think by about 10 o'clock, we'll see that diminishing and clearing on out. Across southeast Michigan right now, temps range from the mid 40s to 50 degrees. This morning, you will want to take a jacket with you, but by afternoon, you'll be sweating if you're wearing a jacket. So make sure you do have something for everything today. Here's the pic from yesterday. Yesterday was a very beautiful day. Today will be much like it. We will have plenty of sunshine, and we will have some clouds as well. It's going to be a mix of clouds and sunshine. This picture coming from Malo in Troy. Now, when we go into the next few days, there's going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride. Normal high for this day and date, 63 degrees. We're going to be up to 73. Tomorrow, we're in the lower 60s, same for Thursday, back into the lower 70s for the weekend. Now, here's what we're looking at when it comes to those clouds and the rain showers that will move into southeast Michigan overnight. Today, we have a lot of sunshine. It's in the overnight hours after midnight that we start to see a couple of showers approaching southeast Michigan. I think those will be out of here before the morning drive tomorrow. Today, we have those temps that are going to be up to, again, the 70s in the afternoon hours, slightly cooler in the thumb, where we will have some temps topping out in the 60s. Otherwise, it is a great day. If you aren't seeing that fog this morning, you'll see Ann Arbor, there's some fog right now, still an issue. We're going to be seeing those showers again for the weekend as the temps return to the lower 70s, Nick. So we will get the warm weather again, but it comes with the rainfall. And I don't want to sound like that's a bad thing because we need the rain.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're in a drought, right? Yeah. You know, but looking at this, if I'm going to go glass half full here, which I rarely ever do, is that at least the higher temps come on the weekends so you can enjoy it, right?
That's true.
It's not great like apple picking or orchard.
Not too pessimistic. Yeah, the glass still half full.
Give me 5 minutes. I'll go back. All right, Ron, thanks, man. We're going to come back with a news update here in just a moment. And then a warning about a dangerous TikTok trend we're seeing here in Metro Detroit. How mainly kids, teens, are using AI to prank their friends and their families. Police say it is not a joke. It is causing significant issues. Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. The man who launched a verbal anti-Semitic attack towards families at a Bloomfield Hills synagogue will be sentenced today. Hassan Choker is accused of attacking the parents in the parking lot of Temple Beth El in December of 2022. He then went to a Dearborn gun store and lied about being allowed to buy guns. Last month, he was sentenced to 34 months on a federal gun charge, and today's sentencing is for the state charges of the attack there. Another 90 minutes of Local 4 Live coming up next. A new social media trend on TikTok that is getting a warning from police. We're going to talk with our crime and safety expert, Darnell Blackburn, about it. And then a new study finding people in Detroit spend the highest percentage of their income on groceries. We're going to talk with a money-saving expert to get some advice on how to save when you shop. And finally, we're going to the history books for a look at what happened on this day in history, from record speed to the start of a major volunteer organization. All of that on Local 4 Live.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, it's almost 8:30 here on Tuesday. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Right now, a viral social media prank is causing trouble across the country, including here in Metro Detroit. Take a look at this viral video. There's more than 5 million views. This is called the Homeless Man Prank and uses pictures made with AI. People are using artificial intelligence to create pictures of homeless people at their door or in their home, in a couch, in a bed, and then sending it to a family member, leading them to think someone broke into their home. The joke is supposed to get a funny reaction from the people who were sent the pictures, but police say it's not funny. In fact, West Bloomfield PD put out an alert after getting a report of their own saying how it can trigger dangerous reactions and some legal consequences. Darnell is here to talk about this from a crime and safety aspect. And being a former police officer, you understand that if someone were to, let's make a scenario. Let's say your son texted you a photo and said, "Dad, do you know this dude? He says he knows you. I let him in and he's sitting on the couch waiting for you." What's going through your mind?
I'm saying knucklehead. Number one,
right.
I'm
And
rushing
that's a
home.
TV clean version of what you actually say.
Exactly. Definitely. I'd be saying some other choice words. But I'm rushing home. I'm like, get this guy out, call 911. I mean, it's a threat. I don't know who this guy is. Why
I don't know what
let
the
him in
intention
house.
is.
Yeah, I don't know what the intention is. So I'm coming home guns a-blazing, almost literally, because I'm like, what's going on with this person being in my house? So you know, I mean, we know kids are kids, and this is very juvenile, but
it's a prank, right? They don't get it.
They don't get it, but it's just the danger of it and the implications that could happen. You know, we talked about this earlier. The fact that, I mean, you say this person's in the house or if somebody's broken in, you call the police or say, as a parent, I mean, just as a former police officer, but as a dad, if I can't get there, I'm calling the police. Hey, my son says somebody's in the house or somebody's broken in.
Right.
And the police come, and what happens if they get there and they're not going to come and say, hey, is everything okay?
They're not going to friendly knock on the door and say, hello, who's inside?
Right. They're coming aggressively, and you're putting yourself, son, daughter, whomever, in harm's way because of this.
Yeah, I mean, literally guns drawn because there is likely a threat inside of that house.
Absolutely.
And another challenge there is that there is often, because of just the way that society works and the way that we treat people, a lot of times mental health challenges tied to homelessness.
Absolutely.
So if that's in the back of someone's mind, thinking this is real, because we have to remember this is all fake, right? Mm-hmm. If you think that, you know, that's another threat, because that I don't say that to sound callous,
no.
But there are often distinct and very different challenges with dealing with that population.
Those things coexist very often.
Right.
And so it's not a disparity. I mean, it's the reality, and oftentimes. And so, yeah, that adds another layer to this. And it's just something that's just not worth doing. Not to mention the fact that, hey, you know, say they call and report this, or the parent calls and reports it. The parent can be charged with filing a false police report because of some dumb thing that a son or daughter does.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't.
Hopefully there'll be some leniency there because the parent thought it was real.
Yeah, most likely.
But it could happen. Maybe
if
the kids call, if they know that it's not real.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a problem.
We talked about it earlier. I kind of equate what happens in terms of taxing the response to swatting.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you have 2, 3, 4 or more, you know, cop cars heading out there with sometimes single or a partner. You're looking at 2 to 6 officers when they should be out doing other things.
Sign up resources, absolutely. And that's a huge problem. And
especially because they don't have enough cops as it is.
As it is. And so you got these people out and you're deploying resources to something that is just a waste of time.
Right.
And so it's just important not to do it. Just important.
I'm kind of curious, from a police officer's perspective, do you get frustrated with things like this if you were still on the job, or do you try to say, these are kids doing stupid things? Or is it a little both?
I mean, it's a little both. You definitely want to explain. If I get called to something like this, I'm definitely going to be frustrated. And I'm going to express my frustration to the person, the young person.
To that kid, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And just help to educate them on how dangerous this is for everybody and how much this ties up resources, and it's important not to do this kind of thing.
It's another great example of how AI is just changing our world in ways that we never thought possible.
Absolutely, it is, and it can be just used improperly, just a bad tool.
Right, right. Yeah. Okay, Darnell, thanks, man. Always appreciate your insight.
Yeah,
you're kind of a smart guy.
Sometimes. Tell my wife and kids. They don't believe it.
Yeah, right.
I don't think anybody believes it.
I'll call you around to let
Thank you, appreciate you, Nick.
Coming up, we're going to head to Washington, D.C., why lawmakers fear this federal government shutdown could be the longest one ever. heading to the U.S. Capitol now. The Senate back in session and expected to resume voting as they struggle to end the government shutdown. It has been 2 weeks now, and the effects are hitting pretty hard. The Department of Education has laid off almost all special ed staff, affecting millions across the country. At the same time, the Pentagon is shifting billions of dollars from research to pay troops, with a spokesperson saying the president ordered funds to cover service members through October 15th. House Speaker Mike Johnson warned the shutdown could become one of the longest in history unless Democrats step up and support the Republican short-term funding bill.
We're barreling toward one of the longest shutdowns in American history unless Democrats drop their partisan demands and pass a clean, no-strings-attached budget to reopen the government and pay our federal workers.
The shutdown's only been for 10 days, so I think the shutdown it's gotten to be almost customary, but we're taking care of it. We've got the military paid in full, and we're doing a lot of things. We're ending some programs that we don't want. They happen to be Democrat-sponsored programs, but we're ending some programs that we never wanted, and we're probably not going to allow them to come back. I think they made a mistake. I think they made a big mistake.
All right, now on the other side, Democrats are pushing back and continuing their fights to extend enhanced Affordable Health Care Act subsidies.
We agree that current spending levels are unacceptable, and it also incorporates massive cuts that have occurred over the last several months and cuts funding for local law enforcement grants to support police officers by $500 million. So there's a variety of different challenges that we have with respect to this partisan Republican spending bill. But the main one is that we're facing this health care crisis. Open enrollment starts on November 1st. Tens of millions of Americans are receiving notices right now that their premiums, copays, and deductibles are about to explode.
It's appalling to hear the president of the United States speak like this, just to kind of take joy in the misery of Americans. And he is taking joy in singling out federal employees. I mean, first of all, he does not have the legal right to do a reduction in force during a shutdown. It's illegal to do. The Anti-Deficiency Act says that the executive branch, the White House and federal agencies can't lay off folks because money hasn't been appropriated for them to do so. And so the fact that they're doing that, it's an illegal action for them to take. And then the president's, adding insult to injury, taking glee in the fact that people are suffering. And, I just can't believe the president's acting this way. It's appalling. And, I just don't know what to say.
Again, the Senate is expected to take up votes today, so we will see what happens, if anything. Well, stock futures are slipping this morning, but investors are counting on third quarter earnings to turn things around. Today, big banks like JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs will drop their earnings before the opening bell. Investors are hoping the earnings will give them some idea of how the economy is doing. With key economic reports delayed by the government shutdown, investors and the Fed are flying blind. One crucial report, the Consumer Price Index, which tells us how much Americans are paying for goods, that needs to come out by November 1st. It's the number that helps set Social Security payments for millions. We also will hear from Fed Chair Jerome Powell, who will speak at a conference later today. The ongoing shutdown will definitely play a role when the Fed meets October 29th and 30th to discuss interest rates. Well, Ron Hilliard says a more fall-like stretch of weather is coming our way. His 401 forecast is next. And then what happened at Selfridge Air National Guard Base on this day in history, you can kind of see it out there. Not much. It's an event that put Detroit on the aviation map. Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a look at some things that happened on this day in history throughout Metro Detroit, starting with a live look at Selfridge, Air National Guard Base, or what you can see of it there. On this day in 1922, Selfridge hosted a major air race that put Detroit on the map for aviation history. Lieutenant Lester James Maitland made headlines as one of the first pilots to ever break 200 miles an hour. He finished his race with an average speed of 205. His triumph even got noticed by Orville Wright, who sent the lieutenant a congratulation letter. Heading to Ann Arbor right now, where on this day in 1960, the future president, John F. Kennedy, proposed what would become the Peace Corps. The president arrived at the University of Michigan at 2 o'clock in the morning to throngs of students at the Michigan Union. He didn't have a speech prepared, but talked about the need for young people to give something back to their country by working with the Foreign Service. Although he didn't name the Peace Corps, the speech is credited as the genesis for that idea. Let's also take a look at the corner ballpark, the site of Old Tiger Stadium in Corktown. Today, back in 1984, the Detroit Tigers won Game 5 of the World Series against the San Diego Padres, claiming their 4th championship. Kirk Gibson hits 2 home runs in that final game, and manager Sparky Anderson made history as the first to win a World Series in both the National and the American Leagues. All right, unfortunately, fall ball is over for Detroit Tigers, but the key word fall is true because your forecast has summer and then fall.
It does.
And then summer, but a little rain mixed in. You got a little everything.
You know, I've heard
any snow on the forecast?
Not for us, thankfully.
Okay.
Montana had some snow yesterday.
Did it really?
Actually. Yeah. Here in Southeast Michigan, we will see some 30s popping up this week, but let's talk about the 70s that we have. This is a day that we are going to see temps up to about 73 degrees, but before all that happens, right now we're in the 40s and 50s, and we have even some fog. The fog right now most problematic in Lenawee and Monroe counties. We also have some poor visibility as we go into parts of Washtenaw County and the Thumb. Those temps that I mentioned, we're in the mid 40s to about 50 degrees in most locations here in Southeast Michigan. Sky conditions range from partly cloudy to even mostly sunny. Now, today's high forecast for 73 degrees. The average high for this date, 63. We will be back to normal tomorrow and Thursday before temps go back up over the weekend. Now, the front that is moving through right now across Southeast Michigan is not bringing us any rain, but as we go into the overnight hours, we can start to see some showers moving into Southeast Michigan. Those showers coming in from the west. We will have a low chance of showers, and they will be mainly from about 1 o'clock in the morning until before sunrise. So most of us missing out on that. Not all of us even getting the rain, but we need the rain because we have drought conditions here in Lower Michigan. It's a big issue across the country. Moderate levels for drought right here in Southeast Michigan. So maybe today, before the rainfall, you want to go ahead and get your car washed. That rain again coming overnight. Temps are going to be nice in the 60s as we go into the afternoon hours, and then finally by mid-afternoon, we're at 73 for our high. Partly cloudy and warm. The high temps, well, it's going to be warmest as you get south of, I'd say, Hall Road. As you go around I-69 and north, you will see those temps in the mid to upper 60s. So not everyone enjoying the 70s today. Those temps will be going down again tomorrow and Thursday. All of us joining the 60s for our highs. We'll have those overnight lows tomorrow night into Thursday in the upper 30s to about 40 degrees. So cooling off once again, and then warming up for the weekend. Temps in the 70s for Saturday, and a couple of rain showers as well, Nick.
I'm looking at that high of 58 on Monday.
Yeah. Of these high temps, which do you prefer?
Anything above 50.
Anything above 50.
Good Lord. Yeah, that's it. Oh, producer Mary likes it, but producer Mary is a flannel kind of girl.
Yeah.
I mean, she's always bundled up.
Yeah.
All the time. See, I like to put her business out on blast. We can talk about some of her typos later. For so many families, the Detroit Zoo is a favorite activity, but there is so much you don't see when you visit the exhibits. Local 4's new streaming show gives you some behind-the-scenes access. We even show you the zoo because you can't see it. It's so foggy out there, Ron. Welcome back. It is kind of a day to head to the zoo. Beautiful in terms of temperatures. It's a comfortable, cozy fall day out there as long as you can see your way around here in Royal Oak. Now here at Local 4, we actually have a new show that gives you a behind-the-scenes tour at the Detroit Zoo. This morning, we're taking a look at one animal that is bringing the dinosaurs into the zoo. Here's a clip from our new series, Detroit Zoo Inside and Out.
So we talked about the rhino, second largest animal on Earth. We do have some big birds here at the Detroit Zoo. A couple that you're specifically fond of.
You do know I love birds. We have some remarkable birds here. There is Hannibal the ostrich. The vultures, I feel like they're unsung heroes. Everyone doesn't understand how important vultures are to so many ecosystems. Really though, the cassowary is one of my most favorites. Neo the cassowary and Cremini, they are birds that you absolutely need to visit when you're here.
Southern cassowary is considered the most dangerous bird in the world. They have a claw on each foot that is about 5 inches. They can run up to 31 miles per hour. They can jump 7 feet, and they are also good swimmers. They are considered closely related to dinosaurs. Hi, my name is Kristen Porter. I'm a bird zookeeper here at the Detroit Zoo. I have worked here for 19 years. I've been in the bird department all those 19 years. Neo is 5 years old. We received her in May of 2021. She was about 1 year old. She is now 5 years old. Cremini came in May of 2022, and he came about 1 year old as well, and he is 3 years old right now. He is a little more shy than her. They are the third largest bird. They are the third tallest bird, but the second heaviest bird. They can weigh up to 167 pounds. Right now, Neo weighs 138 pounds. Males are a little bit smaller. Cremini right now weighs 111 pounds. They're also about 4 to 5.5 feet tall. The cassowaries are a non-contact animal, so we always have to bring them into a space that we are not in order to go into the space we need to clean. Every morning I bring out their food and their enrichment that we will be giving for the day, and also my tools to use to clean the yard. The cassowaries are pretty fascinating birds. A lot aren't known about them in the wild due to them living in heavy, dense areas of the forest. They do though come out onto beaches to either sunbathe or go for a swim. The cast is what's on her head. She's grown into it very well. The cast is keratin-like on the outside and a spongy material on the inside. Not much is known about the cast. They think it could be to show dominance or to help with communication. It also, they think it could help with going through the rainforest. So yeah, every day I just look to make sure there's nothing unsafe for her in the habitat, as well as picking up any leftover food that she did not eat and all of her droppings. And we feed them twice a day. She gets this whole bucket in the morning, and then she has another container inside for the PM diet that we'll mostly feed inside. We always try to challenge them with different things to give them a variety of ways to find their fruit. They also sometimes eat small mammals in the wild. She gets a mouse and a little pinky every day as well, just as part of her diet. It's very fun watching her interact with different enrichment. The training that we do, she's very into training. It benefits her with being engaged, and it benefits us with teaching them, being able to do stuff without having to constrain them. We do daily training with her every day. She knows target, Neo target. Target, Neo, up. Good girl. But yeah, everybody's able to see her from this side and through the Australian outback. She likes to spend a lot of her time here too. She's very curious about guests, which is surprising for a solitary bird, but she just loves all the interaction that she can get. All of our training especially is based on their participation. If they don't want to participate, then we don't do it for the day. But she is normally very into it and wants to do it right first thing in the morning. So I do a lot of her training inside, and then I also do training throughout the day here. We do a lot of our keeper talks at this training wall. So if you come and join us at the zoo, this would be where the keeper talks would usually happen. It's right by the entrance of the outback.
And you can watch the entire episode of Detroit Zoo Inside and Out here on Local 4 Plus and click on Detroit.com. Well, much more ahead in our next hour of news. A new survey finds Detroiters are paying a higher percentage of their income on groceries than anybody else in the country. We're chatting with a money-saving expert about ways to save, what she says you should do before you go to the grocery store that could really cut down on some costs. And the investigators here at Local 4 have spent months digging into data on school security. We're going to show you the problem areas and take you inside one school that may have found solutions. And then a video you really just have to see how a dog sparked a big fire in a home. It's a good lesson for everyone because he was playing with something that all of us have at home. More news, more weather, and another hour of Local 4 Live. Stay with us here on Local 4 Plus.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. A lot to talk about in the next hour here. We are all noticing the price increases at the grocery store, but did you know Detroiters are paying the highest percentage of their income just to feed their families? We're going to talk with the money-saving expert about some ways that you can cut down that bill. Also, the one area of the store she says you should avoid because prices are marked up 300%. And then a skimming device found at an ATM in Oakland County. We're going to tell you exactly where that is and why police are fearing there could be some more out there. And later, the investigators at Local 4 spent months digging into security at Metro Detroit schools. We're going to show you the problem areas and take you inside one Macomb County school that may have found some solutions. Let's get to your news headlines and a live look at the Port of Los Angeles, where trade tensions between the U.S. and China are heating up again. Both countries now slapping each other with new fees on each other's ships as part of an escalating dispute. Chinese officials blame Washington's new export controls, while the White House points to Beijing's restrictions on rare earth minerals. President Trump is threatening to raise tariffs on Chinese imports to more than 100% by November 1st. Also starting today, tariffs on upholstered chairs, seats, and sofas jump up to 25%, and they'll climb even higher to 30% at the start of the new year. Well, heading to Washington, D.C. now, President Trump is back there at the White House after helping broker a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Yesterday, he spoke at a summit in Egypt and met with released hostages in Israel. Alice Barr has those details from Washington.
Good morning. President Trump, who brokered a truce between bitter enemies, has said more than once now that the war in Gaza is over. But with the hostages returned, the focus shifts to serious questions about ensuring a ceasefire becomes a lasting peace. This morning, as President Trump returns to the White House from a Middle East trip that sought to cement peace in Gaza.
Historic day, to put it mildly.
The final 20 living Israeli hostages are waking up at home for the first time in 2 years. Joyful family reunions nourishing a nation hollowed out by their long and painful absence. Images of Hamas terrorists abducting Noah Argamani as her boyfriend, Avinatan Or, was also dragged away, were among the most searing from the October 7th attacks. Noah was rescued last year. Avinatan leaping into her arms upon his release. While in Gaza, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners also released through the peace deal, all returning to a war-ravaged territory. President Trump joined 20 other heads of state for a peace summit in Egypt, seeking long-term solutions.
We're going to have a lot of money coming into Gaza and a lot of rebuilding and building.
The president thanking neighboring Arab states for committing to helping rebuild.
I met with many of the people in this room, and it all just started coming together.
Though so far, Israel and Hamas have agreed to just phase one of President Trump's 20-point peace plan, with looming questions about Hamas disarming and leaving power, and who will govern Gaza through an uncertain future. Another outstanding question, the return of the remains of deceased hostages, with only 4 of 28 believed to be held by Hamas returned on Monday. Long term, when asked about Palestinian statehood, the two-state solution, President Trump said the focus right now is on rebuilding Gaza. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Alice, thank you. Staying at the White House right now, President Trump looking to broker another peace deal, this time between Ukraine and Russia. The president is expected to meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky on Friday. Over the weekend, Trump said he is considering telling Russian President Vladimir Putin if the war in Ukraine does not end, he will consider allowing the transfer of long-range Tomahawk missiles to Kyiv. Trump and Zelensky discussed this in phone calls over the weekend. Well, back here at home, we are expecting to learn more about lawsuits against a former nurse at Sinai Grace Hospital. Today, attorneys plan to outline new claims against a 47-year-old man accused of performing unnecessary medical procedures, sexually assaulting, and then drugging patients. He is charged with several counts of sexual misconduct in separate cases. We're going to update you as soon as we learn some more. The hospital did send us a statement, though, saying, quote, upon becoming aware of these allegations, Sinai Grace proactively initiated contact with and notified law enforcement and suspended the employee, who has since been terminated. We do not condone any type of abuse and are cooperating fully with law enforcement. Federal privacy laws restrict us from sharing patient-specific information. Over in Roseville now, where a man is recovering after 2 officers shot him outside of the city's police department. We first brought you this yesterday as breaking news. Investigators say a man with hit a police car with an officer inside it, then got out with a knife. According to officers, the man ignored warnings to put it down, and that's when 2 officers outside of the cruiser shot him. The Macomb County Sheriff's Department is now investigating that shooting. Meanwhile, Detroit police are still looking for the driver accused of hitting and killing a man and then leaving the scene. You're looking at video of the scene on Joy Road near Central, just west of Livernois. Officers found the man in the middle of the road. Police did not have any suspect or vehicle information, though. Okay, 9:06 here on Tuesday. Now to ways to save on an expense we are all feeling right now, groceries. You're looking live at Detroit for a reason. A new Wallet Hub study finds people in Detroit spend the highest percentage of their median household income on groceries. Here's a breakdown. Wallet Hub says Detroiters are spending nearly 4% of their income on groceries. We pay more for things like lettuce, sugar, and whole milk. But when it comes to ground beef, tuna, and peaches, we are seeing some of the least expensive prices in the countries. So we reached out to money-saving expert Andrea Warrock for some advice on how we can save when we're shopping. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. It's one of those things that we don't have a choice. Groceries are groceries, and we have to buy them to eat. But there are things you can do to try to trim that grocery bill a little bit.
Yes, and I think it's important to also realize that not everything you buy at the grocery store is a necessity. I mean, how many times do we all throw in some extra food that we didn't plan to purchase, whether it was a tempting food display or, you just make some impulse food purchases. And so having that shopping list is a really important tool to streamline your shopping, making sure you're not buying in excess, because that's going to drive up your food bill and also lead to food waste. And actually, the most important thing you can do is create a meal plan. That meal plan that you make is going to account for every meal you plan to eat at home. Then you can look for recipes that use overlapping ingredients so that you cook everything that you buy in its entirety. How often do you buy that big bag of potatoes but don't cook all the potatoes, and then some of them go to waste? And so your meal plan would effectively use everything you buy, and then this is going to really trim that grocery bill.
I've actually seen some websites, or maybe it was on TikTok, or people sharing where you can download recipes that overlap and spread out the ingredients over a week or so.
Exactly. There are various services you can sign up for, subscribe to, and they can create meal plans for you. And there are some that use just a few ingredients to stretch your budget, but also it's healthier when you do it that way too, and use whole foods. Yeah. And what I love about once you have your meal plan in place, now you can create your shopping list. Again, that's going to guide you through the store to make sure you're not buying unnecessary groceries. And then you can see also, what do you already have at home? Maybe you forgot you had an ingredient, you don't want to double up, check your freezer, fridge, pantry. This way you can check those off and then take it one step further. Now look up circulars for the different grocery stores in your area to see if anyone has a better deal for the main ingredients on your list, whether it's a meat or chicken or fish. This is where I would then recommend shopping to help reduce your overall cost.
Yeah, you had mentioned that there are some areas of the grocery store that are marked up to 300% or more.
That's a little scary. Yes, some grocery sections are going to cost you more, specifically the bakery. When it comes to cookies, cupcakes, muffins, these types of items, I mean, you're going to be paying almost 300% more than if you made them yourself. Now, I know time is an issue. Maybe not everybody's excellent at baking, but even if you just go to the regular baking aisle and buy a boxed cookie, cupcake, brownie mix, those are going to be cheaper. I mean, you're getting them for a few dollars, and they're going to also be just as tasty, and they don't require that much extra effort to make. So I would recommend doing that. Otherwise, if you are in the bakery, look for maybe the day-old baked goods. It's going to be about 50% less. And then also anything that's been prepared, whether it's a meat that's been cut up or marinated, a chicken that's been cut up for a kebab, even a fruit or a vegetable that's been slightly prepared, a fruit salad, let's say, those are going to cost you anywhere from 50 to 100% more than if you just bought the whole produce or the larger slab of meat and marinated it at home. So really consider this.
You know, what's funny about that, Andrea, is that there's a conversation that I've heard in multiple households about the obviously the savings on buying and preparing everything yourself, but then some people say I'd rather spend the money because I don't have the time to prepare it.
You know what? I think that that's a valid point. If you are somebody who will buy, whole produce or a whole head of lettuce with the intention of making a salad and then it just ends up in the trash, then okay, get to know yourself and what is going to make your life easier. And if that means spending a little bit more, but you're actually eating it and using it all in its entirety, go for it, because that's a better deal in the long run than throwing anything away, because that's just like throwing your hard-earned dollars in the trash.
Right. What's your experience in doing grocery shopping at some of those major wholesalers like Sam's Club and Costco and buying in bulk?
Yes. Okay. So these could be really great resources as long as you pay attention to a few items. First of all, don't overbuy fresh food in bulk. Again, what's going to happen is unless you have a large family, a lot of people who are going to consume all that food, you're eating at home a lot, chances are some of it's going to go bad. That doesn't mean you shouldn't buy there, because there are good deals, but just be really particular about what you're buying and really have that meal plan. Consider what you're going to need and what you don't. Maybe for a pack of strawberries or blueberries, buy the smaller container at your local grocery store rather than the large ones. I mean, I've had to learn this myself for my family. Some of the fruits or vegetables that last longer, I'll buy in bulk, but the others I'll buy smaller containers of. Also, this could include potato chips or crackers. If you buy a large bag, you don't consume it all, it could go stale. Milk, bread as well. So you really do want to pay attention to that. Anything that goes in the freezer, though, as long as you have room for it, that's a great deal. Plus, then you always have something to make when you don't have your fresh food in the fridge, and then this will save you on takeout.
I wanted to get your take. I've heard some friends say that they can save massively by using the discount stores like an Aldi, for instance. Is the quality there? And they're like the off-brand name chips and things like that. I hear they taste just as good, but I haven't tried them yet.
Yes, no, these stores are a great resource. If you haven't tried it, I would recommend going in and giving it a go, because you're going to be surprised at how much you can save. And the store brands really, have come a long way over the last decade and rival the name brands. Oftentimes they're manufactured in the same facilities. You can compare ingredients side by side. And what I love too about, stores like Target or Walmart, a lot of these grocery stores will accept returns if you're not happy with the taste of a certain food product. So why not give it a go, whether it's the generic cereal, generic crackers that you eat on a daily basis. If this is going to save you a few bucks per package, try it, because in the long run, it's going to cut your grocery bill.
But you've got to bring your own grocery bag, right?
You know what? That will help you save as well, too.
Okay, Andrea, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, here at 9:13 on Tuesday, please say that thieves are targeting local ATMs. We're going to show you the simple thing you should be doing before you swipe your card to keep your own money safe. Welcome back, everybody. Police are warning people to check an ATM before using it after a device and camera were found in an ATM at a MSU Federal Credit Union in Berkeley. Police believe the thieves may have targeted other credit unions. Priya Mann has the warning signs and how you can protect your money.
When you're using an ATM, usually you're just putting in your card and then inserting your PIN, but you have to be aware. Police found a camera bar up here, and that skimmer device was actually installed into the card reader. Let me show you the pictures that police released. One picture shows that camera bar that I mentioned. It was placed to view PIN codes. The second and third pictures are the skimmer device that was placed into the card slot. Police are reminding people to inspect ATMs for unusual attachments or damage before use. On Sunday, Berkeley police got a call about an alarm activation at this ATM. The device is believed to have been installed overnight and may be connected to similar incidents at other MSU credit union locations in the area. Now, it's believed that that skimmer device was only on here for a few hours. It was installed overnight. Police don't believe many people were impacted, but they are looking at security video to see if they can identify the person who installed it. They're also looking to see if anyone was affected. But again, your best bet when you're using an ATM is be aware and also finagle some of the devices here, and that way you can see potentially if there's anything installed. In Berkeley, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
All right, Priya, thank you much. Dozens dead and entire neighborhoods wiped out in Mexico. Torrential rains triggering deadly floods and landslides. We're going to show you that devastation and what Mexico's president is promising for those communities hit hardest. Welcome back. Torrential rains in Mexico have turned deadly, killing at least 64 people and leaving dozens still missing. The flooding came after a tropical depression triggered landslides and burst rivers across the Gulf Coast and central states. The president there says the rains were far worse than expected, damaging about 100,000 homes. The worst areas hit are Hidalgo and Veracruz, where crews are still digging through mud and debris to find the survivors. Of course, here at home, it's a pretty quiet weather story. A live look at the downtown at the Detroit Metro Airport. Ryan Hilliard says it's basically fall with a little rain and summer mixed in.
Now, forewarned weather with ExactTrack 4D.
Are you a fan of temps in the 70s? Well, we have another day of it. 73 degrees is our forecast high for this afternoon. Our average high is 63. We will be back to normal tomorrow and Thursday, and then by Saturday, temps are going to be back into the 70s. So we have this cool down back to normal before the warm-up returns. A cold front is passing through southeast Michigan this morning, and it's not bringing any rainfall, but behind it will be cooler weather. And then there's a chance of some rainfall, but it is not associated with this front. The rain showers that are over toward the heartland and upper Midwest will potentially try to make their way into southeast Michigan overnight into early tomorrow morning. Our forecast for today's show is that we have mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. We will then be watching for those scattered showers to move into southeast Michigan after 1 o'clock in the morning. And we could have some of these showers still lingering around until maybe before sunrise tomorrow. Not everyone will be impacted by this rain, and I do not think it's going to be any kind of significant impact at all on your commute, as those showers will be out of here, but maybe some roads could still be wet during the rush hour tomorrow. Wednesday, tomorrow, we do again in the morning have a couple of shower chances passing through, mainly pre-dawn. We go into our Friday night with a spotty shower possible. Otherwise, Saturday and Sunday are our next best chances for rain showers. This morning, we have temps that are in the 50s, finally getting into the 60s this afternoon. And before things are over, we're going to see highs today in the 70s in most of southeast Michigan. As I mentioned, that high comes in at 73 degrees. But as we go into the thumb, especially around I-69 and northward, we're going to see those temps stuck in the 60s. Not too bad, still above average for those highs to be in the mid to upper 60s. We go into tomorrow, all of us are back down into the 60s with those highs around 62 and 63 for Thursday. We go into our Friday with temps around 66 in the afternoon hours. A spotty chance of showers late at night. I think we can avoid any rainfall for our high school sports. But then it's on Saturday and Sunday as we see those temps getting back up to around 73 degrees on Saturday, where we can have some of those showers returning. And then another cool down comes as we go into next week. So we have a bit of a roller coaster ride. In the meantime, enjoy today. Tomorrow, keep the umbrella handy.
All right, Ron, thank you, sir. Thinking about buying a new car? You might want to pump the brakes. We're going to show you some new data that shows how prices and payments are hitting record highs. Let's take a live look at the Southfield Freeway right now, and traffic kind of coming through. If you're thinking about buying a new car, you might want to keep saving. For the first time ever, the average price for a new vehicle has topped $50,000 last month. That's according to Cox Automotive, which also reports the average new auto loan rate is hovering about 9%. but it can jump as high as 18 to 20% for home buyers with lower credit scores. And that sounds steep. The study found nearly 1 in 5 car buyers signed up for monthly payments of $1,000 or more this quarter. Well, Taylor Swift knows all too well how to shatter records, and she's doing it again. The Life of a Showgirl broke a sales record, selling more than 4 million copies in her first week. It's the biggest opening weekend in music history. Plus, all the songs are taking the top 12 spots of the Hot 100. The Showgirl isn't slowing down, though. A docu-series is coming to Disney Plus on December 12th, giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at the Eras Tour. Well, do you remember the popular song, Boots with the Fur? Now T-Pain fans can get their own Boots with the Fur thanks to Crocs. The brand is partnering with T-Pain, who is featured, of course, on that 2008 hit Low, referencing the Boots with the Fur. The classic unforgettable leopard knee-high boot is now Crocs' tallest boot ever. It's just over 35 inches. They're wrapped in a plush vegan leopard print fur and adorned with lots of bling. If you want some boots with the fur, they're $160 on the Crocs website. All right, coming up, we're going to take you inside of Metro Detroit schools where our investigation found security gaps that could put students at risk, and one district that might have found a fix.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Well, welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you so much for watching. Well, this year isn't just gun practice. It's at a gun range, and it's for preparation for protecting students in Metro Detroit schools. Now, you might not realize this is happening, but more schools in Metro Detroit are hiring armed security. The investigators at Local 4 started wondering what's really going on inside of our schools. We started a school security investigative series. Investigator Karen Drew is here in studio with a look at the results of this 3-month investigation. Karen?
There is a lot of information here, Nick. We found Michigan school districts statewide have seen a rise in violent crime in the past 2 years. You can see this graph here. It takes a dip around COVID, but then starts jumping up again. Now, when we take a closer look at the Oakland schools, the Wayne and the Macomb, you can see some of the trends here in terms of what has been going on. Oakland County has seen a rise in crime. Wayne County as well has seen a larger increase with 260 more victims compared to the year before. Meantime, Macomb County has gone down in the last 2 years to 37 victims of violent crime this past school year. So why did we decide to do this story? Brings me here. It was June. I headed up to Pontiac. We had a tip that there was a possible mass shooting plot at a graduation. It was averted, and it was because of this guy, Michael Johnson. He's an armed school security officer. And when I was talking to him, he said, oh yeah, there's a lot of these armed officers all around Metro Detroit. And I thought, there's a lot more to report here.
Somebody yells inside, fight, fight, fight. So at that point, of course, I take off running.
This armed security guard had a gut feeling more needed to be done, so he called 911 for backup. Turns out, police say 2 men were planning to open fire during the graduation ceremony.
He acted quickly, and we are grateful for that.
Michael Johnson works for Fortis Security. The company provides armed security for more than 50 school buildings in Metro Detroit. Take a look at this list. Schools from Anchor Bay, Huron Valley, Brighton, and a long list of private schools as well. Have to admit, that piqued our interest. That many schools are turning to armed guards.
We're going to be utilized by the principals.
So the investigators at Local 4 headed up to Holly this summer and got exclusive access to the armed guards training. Today's session, talking about securing flexible learning spaces in schools.
When we walk by a classroom, we're used to seeing desks with students in them, and now we're seeing love seats pushed together with patio lights across, and we don't know why, what's going on.
Officers also learn about the importance of making contact with students every single day.
You know, think of a minor statement made here, a minor statement made here. They may mean nothing individually, but you put those together and it could be something more serious.
And of course, there's plenty of hours spent practicing shooting. For some parents, the scene is hard to watch, knowing this is now needed in our schools. But for other moms and dads, it's comforting. Officers like Devin Benson are providing this kind of protection in Metro Detroit school hallways.
Our former law enforcement officers, and it's very important with the culture of the day. We're here to protect our kids, protect the staff.
Locally, you know, there seems to be a bigger push beyond just regular security. They want armed security.
Yes,
why?
Because of the culture we're in today. You know, we have seen from Oxford, different places that people are coming in with weapons.
Maybe to a Macomb County? Our team went through the reports and data. There's a lot to share. Just last year, OK to Say, Michigan's Student Safety Program received 611 tips about planned school attacks, more than 600 tips about threats, and 252 tips about guns.
You ready for school?
With those numbers, you can see why armed security is becoming more and more common.
Now you with me? 10-4.
All right, so that is obviously a trend that's going on, the armed guards there. But I was really surprised because I knew, you know, you hear about it, but he's like, oh yeah, we've got 54 buildings. And
here's the challenge, is that it's surprising but not at the same time, because it's kind of what society is dictating now.
Right.
For the worse, right? We don't want this, but it's what we have to do.
So what we did is we saw that it was happening, armed guards. So then I thought, okay, let's go specific. Let's dig deep. And this is where the data part of our investigation goes, where we are actually getting information for each different district and school district. Take a look at what we found.
It's the start of school. Footsteps fill empty halls, students on the way to class. But how many of them are on edge? How many students sit in their classroom feeling unsafe? And what are schools doing about it? The investigators did some digging, going through years of stats and reports, exposing trends to find out what is and what isn't working when it comes to school safety. Let's show you what we uncovered. During the 2024-25 school year, there were nearly 900 victims of violent crime in Michigan schools. That is up from 770 in the 2023-24 school year.
So a student is only considered a victim of violent crime if they are assaulted during the school year, on school property, or at a school event. Then a written report must be made to the school and to the police department. And if all that's done, then that case is actually counted in the statistics.
Detroit Public Schools Community District is the largest school district in our area, nearly double the size of the second largest, Utica Community Schools. But the size of the district doesn't really explain why there were 408 victims of violent crime at DPSCD during the 2024-25 school year alone, especially when there were only 146 reported during the year before. We asked the district. They told us the number was inflated because the district has its own police department, saying, quote, if the report only focuses on students where police action was taken, then the number would be 146.
Violent crime is only part of the problem. After digging through all these reports, we found bullying really is the big issue. Just last school year alone, there were 10,920 incidents reported.
In the 2024-25 school year, Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, with a student count of only 420, reported 118 incidents of bullying. If we look at the largest school district in the 2024-25 school year, we see Detroit Public Schools had 675 bullying incidents, down from 932 the year before. Utica Community Schools had 21, up from 16. Dearborn City School District had 56 bullying cases, down from 108. Ann Arbor Public Schools reported 41. That's up from 30. Plymouth Canton Schools had 33 bullying cases, down from 82. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. The students do. I reached out recently on social platforms asking for your thoughts.
Are you a victim of bullying? Perhaps your child is. How did the school deal with it? How did they not deal with it?
We got a ton of responses. My son doesn't want to go back to school because of bullying. And my daughter, she almost killed herself because she was bullied by her classmate. Another viewer writes, my son was a victim of bullying in middle school, and he never told me about it. He's now 22. He said that the teachers and principal did nothing. The numbers don't lie. Bullying is a real issue in Metro Detroit schools, and experts say there is no time to wait to improve your action plans.
Okay, so you're a parent or teacher, want to look at this data, come on over here. You hit our website, and we made it easy. Let's say you want to go to Macomb County, you can hit violent crime, and look at, you can see it took a dive during COVID, then started to jump up. Let's say you want to go more specific. You can hit your district. We're hitting Clintondale Community Schools. You see violent crime, that one went lower, but then you hit bullying, and take a look at this. It took a dive, and now it is on the rise. More specifically, if you want to look at Ferndale over here in Oakland County, take a look at this, the Ferndale stats. Right here for violent crime, down, 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 and boom, jumps up just last school year. This is very specific information for each school and district. It's on our website at clickondetroit.com. All right, so that was in the newsroom. Back here on set. So we saw that there's a lot of armed guards. Then we did this research to say, okay, what are the problems?
You found yourself some numbers. You love the data.
I do like a good data story. I do. I try to make it interesting for you, though. But then you can't just do that. You got to find a solution. You got to find out like who's doing something right. You know.
And it sounds like that's what East Point did, especially because the student came with a loaded gun. They said, this is a problem. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
Right.
The kid shows up. They had wands at the time, so they were wanding, and then he was acting suspiciously, and then, well, you know, we should just roll tape because we'll show you exactly what happened at East Point, not only what happened there, but really the changes and their reaction to what happened at that school. It's really a lesson for everybody.
The sun rises in East Point long before students arrive to class.
You okay this morning?
Devin Benson, an armed security guard, has already patrolled the school grounds and is ready for another school day.
This is my dream team right here.
This armed security is a result of a student last year showing up with a loaded gun.
The day that happened, a student did not want to get wanded and was kind of acting, you know, suspiciously. And one of our head of security, he was watching. He pulled him aside and brought him into our dean's office.
You're a principal, and you've got a kid who walks in with a loaded gun. What runs through your mind that day?
School goes into a lockdown situation. Locked all the doors.
It's good, it's good, it's good.
Matt Sherman is a biology teacher. He remembers that day well.
We saw very quickly the police response. So we had, men with AR-15s out in the parking lot there, and kids were stressed.
Another security change. These metal detectors were installed at the start of the school year.
We're trying to balance how to keep the school day safe while still involving our families and our guests in our facilities. So we're working on implementing security measures not only during the day, but for those after-school events as well.
East Point High also developed its own OK to Say tip reporting system, complementing the state's program.
What kind of calls are you getting?
Basically, a lot of, certain people are going to fight certain people, something's brewing between these two people.
But you're finding out earlier.
Yes, and that's helping us, get to the problem a lot easier.
We gathered a group of students together to talk school security at East Point High.
When I think of going to school or walking here or driving here, I don't be like, oh, what do I have to worry about today? I just know like it's going to be a peaceful day. I don't think nothing's going to really happen.
The students say they love the peace of mind the metal detectors bring to their learning environment.
I'm kind of happy about that.
And appreciate the extra security at after-school events.
I feel like a lot happens at games because it's students from other schools coming too. So it's not just our school that's able to come to our sport events, it's other people.
Take that hood off.
It's a multi-layered plan that continues to evolve, but is top of minds of administration and parents. Every child has a right to a safe education.
Oh, I have to say it's working. They're down for fights, down for suspensions, overall attitude. Teachers are feeling more comfortable because they're like, okay, I can breathe. It's just interesting, but it's multi-layered and it took a bit.
Right. What seems key there, and I wasn't there so I don't know, but obviously having the presence of them for the physical security is one thing. Building the relationships and just talking to the students, and that's another. And I think that adds a whole lot of extra security just because the kids feel safe. They've got someone they can go talk to.
Right. So you've got that armed guard picking up the pieces of information.
Right.
You've got at East Point their own OK to Say program where they can call in and put tips in and go, okay, so and so's irritated with so and so, let's keep an eye on them. Then you got the layer of the metal detectors, but also that after school. That's
a huge component.
You've got games, you got people mad.
Right.
They're irritated about them. Then you got the parent coming in, then you got the neighbor coming in. And we put so much attention to those school hours that all of a sudden we open up these doors at 4 or 5 o'clock and we let everybody in.
Right.
There can be a lot of trouble there.
Yeah.
So they're really, those after school hours are really a huge issue. And I want to just, say to folks, if you've got a program or you've got something that's going on in your school that, you found that brought safety and calm and comfort, let us know, because it's our job to also share that with other school districts.
Well, and speaking of that, a huge kudos to East Point, because normally when there is an issue,
they don't let you in.
They don't want to open the door and tell you about it.
No, but I give credit to the principal and I give credit to the superintendent, because I said, okay, I see what you did, but you did something really great after. Can we focus on that? And you're right, most of the time they don't do that.
Right,
So.
right, exactly. Okay, Karen, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All those data stories.
I know.
Keep diving in.
I think my next one doesn't. Oh, I was going to say it doesn't have data. No, it has data.
Oh, it has data.
I've got to dig.
Of course it has data. Thank you. So, you know what's incredible about that, though, is that there is so much out there that people don't realize.
Well, there is. There's a lot of public information. The problem is, and this is where, and I'm going to go shout out about local journalism, there is no one that's going to take the time, that's going to go through the reports, that's going to put it together, that's going to make the graphs, that's going to make the charts, that's going to do it for a school district individually, that makes it easy for a parent. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And I'm
You have
proud of
to
that. I'm
sort
proud
through
of what
all
we
it.
do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Karen, thank you much. You can also scan the QR code to see all of that data, all the investigations that Karen and the investigators did yourself. You can explore through it, go through it, see what the students and the schools are reporting in your specific school district. That includes bullying and violent crimes, all on the investigators page right now at clickondetroit.com. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. When we come back, a dog's quick curiosity nearly turned tragic. A chewed-up battery starts a fire inside of a family's home. You can see right there, it is caught on camera. What firefighters want you to know, especially if you own a pet, about the dangers lurking in your house Welcome back, everybody. 9:46 here on Tuesday morning. A live look in Washington, where lawmakers say the government shutdown could stretch longer. Republicans blame Democrats. Democrats blame Republicans. In this case, they are causing more than 4,000 federal workers to get laid off. Democrats are rejecting the funding bill because they want to extend hundreds of billions of dollars in health care. The Senate is back in session and is expected to resume voting, but House Speaker Mike Johnson is warning this could be one of the longest shutdowns in history. And now that political standoff is spilling over into airports across the country. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem recording a video blaming Democrats for the shutdown, and she wanted it played at TSA checkpoints. But several major U.S. airports are refusing to play it. Some saying they are declining the video because of state laws or because it was a violation of the Hatch Act. That act prohibits political activities of federal employees. It's unclear if any U.S. airport will play that video. We do not know the policy yet at Metro airports. Well, back home now, where Lions defensive end Brian Branch, is suspended for one game with no pay. You're looking at video right now after Sunday night's game against the Chiefs, where Branch hit Juju Smith-Schuster after not shaking hands with quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Branch did express some remorse, but says he was frustrated after the game.
I did a little childish thing, but I'm tired of people doing stuff in between the play and refs don't catch it. Like, they be trying to bully me out there, and I don't think I should have never did it.
All right, now Branch is appealing the NFL's decision to suspend him, so he could be allowed to play against the Buccaneers on Monday night. Some video has surfaced, though, which you might not have seen, though. It's of Smith-Schuster taking a cheap shot in between whistles against Branch, and the refs didn't call him on that, and they definitely should have. So not excusing what Branch did, but at least it adds some more context to what's going on. Branch, of course, is no stranger to fines. In the last year and a half alone, he has been fined 10 times. Well, a North Carolina man is spreading the word about fire safety after his dog was almost burned. A 5-year-old, his name is Colton, a rescue dog, got a hold of a lithium-ion power device. He chewed through it, starting a fire, as you can see there in the home. His owner, who was a firefighter, put out the flames within minutes, losing only a rug.
When you're done charging them, like, you have to really pay attention and unplug them. You have to make sure you store them, where they can't get broken or cracked or chewed on by a dog. And then when you're done with them, they have to be disposed in a specific way.
Now, officials say lithium batteries can be dangerous if damaged or tossed in the trash. The dog, Colt, he's just fine, but his story is now a warning for the other pet owners. Well, toppled trucks, down power lines, and roofs ripped away. Storms hit Arizona hard. We're going to show you that aftermath when we come back, and a look at your local forecast as well. Much of Arizona is recovering today after intense storms moved through parts of that state yesterday. This is video of some of the damage caused by the storms. Debris from the roof of a building in the area can be seen throughout the parking lot of that commercial area, causing damage to some of the parked vehicles. There are also reports of tipped over semi-trucks, toppled trees, and down power lines. Police say nobody has been hurt so far anyway. Back at home here, our forecast is a much different story. Just some fall-like temperatures, a little bit of a roller coaster with some rain mixed in. Hey, Ron.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Are you a fan of temps in the 70s? Well, we have another day of it. 73 degrees is our forecast high for this afternoon. Our average high 63. We will be back to normal tomorrow and Thursday, and then by Saturday, temps are going to be back into the 70s. So we have this cool down back to normal before the warm-up returns. A cold front is passing through southeast Michigan this morning, and it's not bringing any rainfall, but behind it will be cooler weather. And then there's a chance of some rainfall, but it is not associated with this front. The rain showers that are over toward the heartland and upper Midwest will potentially try to make their way into southeast Michigan overnight into early tomorrow morning. Our forecast for today shows that we have mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. We will then be watching for those scattered showers to move into southeast Michigan after 1 o'clock in the morning, and we could have some of these showers still lingering around until maybe before sunrise tomorrow. Not everyone will be impacted by this rain, and I do not think it's going to be any kind of significant impact at all on your commute, as those showers will be out of here, but maybe some roads could still be wet during the rush hour tomorrow. Wednesday, tomorrow, we do again in the morning have a couple of shower chances passing through, mainly pre-dawn. We go into our Friday night with a spotty shower possible. Otherwise, Saturday and Sunday are our next best chances for rain showers. This morning, we have temps that are in the 50s, finally getting into the 60s this afternoon. And before things are over, we're going to see highs today in the 70s in most of southeast Michigan. As I mentioned, that high comes in at 73 degrees, but as we go into the thumb, especially around I-69 and northward, we're going to see those temps stuck in the 60s. Not too bad, still above average for those highs to be in the mid to upper 60s. We go into tomorrow, all of us are back down into the 60s with those highs around 62 and 63 for Thursday. We go into our Friday with temps around 66 in the afternoon hours. A spotty chance of showers late at night. I think we can avoid any rainfall for our high school sports. But then it's on Saturday and Sunday as we see those temps getting back up to around 73 degrees on Saturday, where we can have some of those showers returning. And then another cool down comes as we go into next week. So we have a bit of a roller coaster ride. In the meantime, enjoy today. Tomorrow, keep the umbrella handy.
All right, Ron, thanks, buddy. You have to see this one to believe it. A Tennessee couple welcomes a baby boy weighing more than some 2 months old. At one point, doctors decided it's best for the baby to make his arrival a little early. Well, all righty, a Tennessee couple is celebrating a huge arrival. Parents Kayla and Jordan welcomed their son Weston 2 weeks early. He weighed in 13 pounds, 3 ounces. Doctors moved up the C-section after an ultrasound showed that he was already over 12 pounds. He's healthy, he's happy. He's measuring 23.5 inches long, and mom and dad say they're just grateful he is finally here. We're back here in Studio A. I've got Kim, I've got Tati from Live in the D. So much coming up. Kim, of course, fresh off
back.
A brand new baby. Can you imagine?
I literally am like, and the baby came 2 weeks early, as in it had 2 more weeks to potentially grow more.
Yeah.
To cook, bake up in there. Insane.
I wonder why they chose a C-section.
You wonder? Yeah. You wonder?
For the health of the mother.
The well-being and the sanity of the mother.
Exactly.
Those cheeks, though. Did you guys see those cheeks?
Cute little guy.
Really, really
goodness.
Little Weston. Weston's already famous.
I know. I was thinking, that's a cute name.
That's
I
a
like
good name,
that.
right?
Yeah.
All right, Live in the D starts pretty soon. What do you got? What's coming up?
So I have a question for you. Have you taken the kids to the cider mill this year?
Not yet.
It hasn't really been like fall vibes.
It's not right. Not flannel season yet.
I know.
Don't tell that to producer Mary, though.
Oh, she's all about it. Yeah, she's flannel all year round.
So is our technical director. He loves that flannel. We used to do flannel Fridays, but let me let you finish because something really cool is coming up.
We are talking about not leaving the city to go to the suburbs to get your cider, your donuts, the pumpkins.
Nick looks so confused.
I know.
Where are we going?
Well,
we're going to Beacon Park.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to say that. Cider in the city, yes. At Beacon Park.
The whole party that's coming down.
Exactly.
I was so confused. I'm like, wait, there's like an orchard in Detroit?
No. We're growing pumpkins. Somewhere, somebody probably
But
is.
it's incredibly beautiful. If you've never been before, I highly recommend that you go. Like when it's got golden hour and the kids are running around and playing, there are pumpkins all over the place. You got a little cider. You really will feel like you're out at some cider.
This sounds beautiful.
Have you been? Have you taken the kids, Kim?
So I have not been yet, but because, like you said, it hasn't been the fall vibes that I'm looking
Tati
for.
says, "Have you been?" I feel like she's judging me because
No,
she's
I'm
been
not.
to like everything.
I know. Like,
if there's an event, Tati has been there.
No.
Chill out, Tati. We have some children.
I said the whole point is to take your kids. I'm the adult there.
No, you're the kid.
Yes, I am. That's true. I'm actually hanging out with my peer group, but you know what I'm saying? No, you take the kids. For you, it's down the street.
I know, it's
so
down the
easy.
strery. I'm so excited. They're coming into the studio today.
Oh, they are.
Talking.
Are they bringing cider?
Yeah, you just think I was just telling you about something to do this weekend?
Maybe. They're bringing cider. A live look, go over what should be the Gordie Howe International Bridge and Ambassador. Still a lot of fog out there on your Tuesday. Make it a great day. Live Today starts in 1 hour and 2 minutes.